I recently received a very good question from one of you. When I was thinking about how to respond to that question, I was one morning driving in a car and I listened to my favorite radio station where they said that they are going to play the song which is the most cover versions created from that song. Do you know what kind of song it is and who composed it? In case you know that, right now, don't stop the video, just type it into the comment and we will check how well you know the music. How this is related to what I'm going to tell you in my answer to Jan's question, we will find out later. Jan gave me this question which you see now on the screen, and he wrote me that he have several Deshojo maples that are grafted. And since the grafts are not pretty, he would like to air layer and create beautiful Nebari and taper. He's planning to have a final bonsai of 65 centimeters and trunk diameter of 5 to 7 centimeters. And his question is, let the tree grow in the ground and let it strengthen to the final trunk thickness, then do air layering and then work in a wooden box and build Nebari, apex and branching, or B, to do air layering now. When the trunk is about 2 centimeters, root it and continue in wooded training box. He is not sure if it's possible to create sufficiently powerful trunk only in container or wooden box. He is asking me what I expect from the starter bonsai long time period, how big and thick bonsai I would like to grow from it. If it will grow only in wooden boxes, constantly repotting and growing sacrificial apexes. This very good question from Jan. When I was thinking about how to answer, I had in mind this my Deshojo maple. So I will leave the question here. But I bought it and I made 3 layers on this tree last year. 2 of them are successful. One of them is next to me. I will show it to you right after this tree will go down from the table, and I will show you the layer of this tree. The second one is on the bench and one died. It's only one layer which died from the last year batch of air layered maples. This spring I took this mother tree, took it out from the nursery deep container, took it out, did some initial root work, planted it into this wooden box. Why I'm opting for planting into wooden box like this? What I think, what I can achieve in a long term with this kind of maples in oversized wooden crates, I don't know. Honest answer is I don't know. I started to use those boxes 2 years ago, about 2023 was my first maple in the box. I will show it to you how it looks like now. It's next to me. It will go on a table and I will show it to you in a few minutes. But what I know, that this is nothing new. The planting of the maples into some kind of wooden crates, wooden boxes, very shallow ones, and with proper root work and proper Nebari work is technique which is used for many, many years. I'm not the first one who is doing that. I remember well when I saw this for the first time on a forum which I visit frequently, and bonsainut forum, when I saw the guy from France, the Clement, he used the nickname Clem on bonsainut forum. You can check the forum, you can see it here, and you can find the links to few of his threads in the description. I remember well when I saw few of his trees there, some years ago, maybe 2023. You can see this image. It's one of his maple when he started it from very similar material like this. And I remember looking at this picture and thinking to myself, yeah, the crate is very shallow and really wide and long, and it's most probably too big. And if you go and check the link below and you go to this forum and check, and you will see that many experienced growers wrote him at that time when he planted this into this kind of box that the box is too big. He doesn't need this kind of oversized boxes for this kind of maple. The thing is that the forum are good for one particular thing, that in case the poster is keeping the thread alive and is updating the thread with the pictures of the tree in development, you can clearly see on 3, 4, 5, 10 pages over the period of time how the tree developed there. And I remember well when I saw one of those initial pictures and went few pages into the future and saw what the Clement was able to achieve with his growing technique. I was intrigued, and I told to myself that I definitely have to try it one day. So I wrote him and asked him a few questions regarding the recommended size of the boxes, and he was really nice. He texted me, he showed me few of his pictures, and he told me that the techniques he used are not new, and he's familiar with some of those rootwork techniques from the magazine, from the Kinbon from 2001. You can see the front page of this Kinbon. I'm actually trying to find this somewhere online and to buy it. I wasn't lucky enough to find this one, but this is the May 2001 Kinbon magazine, where are many pictures in the article dedicated to Mr. Ebihara, who was very famous Japanese bonsai artist working on maples and spearheading many rootwork and grafting techniques on different trees, mainly on maples, but on other trees as well, as far as I know. And you can check the crazy things he is doing on the roots on the pictures like this or on a picture like this. And the Clement told me that he learned about the boxes from those articles from Mr. Ebihara, like on a picture here. This is the maple in a box, in wooden box created by Mr. Ebihara. I thought it's really good method. I decided that I have to try it myself on few of my maple trees. So I did. In 2023, I planted one of my trees in this kind of box. Of course, I wasn't able to perform this kind of super detailed root work. I was afraid and not skilled enough and so on and so on. But I'm trying in every spring since then to work more on this kind of trees and learn new things regarding the root and Nebari development methods of Ebihara. And I learned it from Clement, and Clement learned it from article of in Kinbon from Mr. Ebihara. This may be very loosely connected to my initial question about the song which has the most cover versions in history of music, and it's Yesterday, written by Paul McCartney. And he started it, he created this fantastic song, and there is estimation that there are maybe 2,200 versions, different versions in maybe 50 to 60 languages of Yesterday. Maybe you have your favorite one, maybe the original one from Paul McCartney and Beatles is your favorite one. For me, it's the version from the movie Yesterday, how something strange happened and the Beatles were somehow erased from history, and maybe only one person remembered the songs of Beatles, and the guy became very famous singer. The Ebihara was spearheading some of those techniques, and the Clement from Normandy, from France, is copying them and posting since many years on bonsainut, and I saw some of his success with some of his maples and some results, as you can see on the pictures. which you can see now, is crazy. What you can achieve with this kind of method, it's really bonkers. So in my opinion, it's definitely worth trying. Coming back to Jan's question, if you have more Deshojo maples, this is actually Shin Deshojo, but very similar one, you can choose between planting into the ground and planting into the grow boxes like this one. My recommendation would be to try both methods, to plant some of them into the ground and let them massively grow. One thing you have to understand is that you cannot match thickening speed if you are growing your trees in the ground with any other method. Hands down, growing in the ground is going to contribute to creation of the thickness of your trunk, and no other method is able to achieve that in the short span of time. Of course, you need to grow sufficient sacrifice branches and amount of foliage which will create the energy, and this energy will create the thickness of a tree, but also the roots which are connected to the trunk and which will go very deep and very wide in the ground, unrestricted. They will have access to a lot of water and a lot of other nutrients, and it will create massive trunk. What you have to be careful in both methods, in growing in the box and the growing in the ground, is that you have to repot the tree at least once in 2 years, maybe in some cases every year, and do the proper work. We are going back to, again, a Bihara method, where if you want to some kind of wider Nebari on a tree, you want to expand your Nebari and have very nice root flare, you need to go into those roots very frequently, remove the thickest roots you have there, keep only the thin roots, and this way you will create the wider and wider base of your future tree. And it doesn't matter if it's in the box or in the ground, it's valid the same. The difference is that in the ground, the speed of thickening the trunk is in most cases faster than with any other container method. If we are talking about if it's better to air layer the tree and then grow it in own roots and wait until it will thicken, or to keep it on original rootstock, which is in most cases very strong maple plant, which has in some instances stronger roots than some kind of cultivars, and this is maybe the valid for Deshojo. It's believed that some cultivars like Deshojo are not very strong on own roots. You have to check yourself what kind of cultivar you have and how it grows on own roots. And in many cases, I heard that, maybe read that in some books, that also the Japanese gardeners and bonsai artists are growing the trees on very strong rootstock, and when the tree is developed and finished, then they air layer it and create a new Nebari on a tree, because it's sometimes much faster development than doing it other way around. So air layer it, for example, now when the tree is only 1.5–2 centimeters wide, and then develop it on own roots. This is, for example, Shin Deshojo, which most probably should grow a little bit better on own roots. So this is the mother plant. Now I'm going to show you the air layer from the mother tree. It's even in the bigger box. We have a mushroom here. The thing is that it's believed that some cultivars are not really strong on own roots. Deshojo could be one of them. I don't know. I don't have original Deshojo. This is Shin Deshojo, which should be improved version. But you can see that it was separated in September 24. Air layered June. The first flush of foliage is from the spring, and now these red leaves are from last 2 weeks, so it's starting to wake up and grow even more. There are some dry branches. I haven't done anything with the tree since it was potted last year into this box. It's fixed most probably to wooden board, and some root work was performed on a tree, but it's sitting like this in this kind of box. How it will look like, I don't know. I believe it will grow well and the roots will be developed. I'm going to deal with all these kind of messy branches and do some kind of selection of initial branches, but I want a lot of foliage to create thickness of initial parts of the trunks. This is my intention for this season, so I'm not going to do any kind of major work and remove any kind of massive amount of foliage. I want this foliage to feed the tree so it will thicken. Based on the result I saw in the threads of Clement on bonsainut, I believe that it's completely okay to plant this kind of relatively thin plant into this kind of 60 by 45 centimeters wooden box, very shallow, with drainage hole on the board and with some of initial root work done to the Nebari, and let it grow and try to develop it this way. And if I'm going to keep doing that, take the tree out every year or every 2 years, do some necessary root work, and then continue with selection of the future parts of trunk and sub-trunks and create some kind of future crown. I don't know where this design will lead me, but I will see later. Then I think it's completely valid. If you look at the pictures of Clem, what he was able to achieve since last 5 years, you can see that it's nothing new and that the results are really fantastic. I told it before in some of my previous videos that some of us don't have the possibility to grow trees in the ground. If you don't have the possibility, still this kind of wooden box is one of the best other options in initial phases of development of your future bonsai. Once again, we have to understand, of course, many of you are tempted to take this kind of tree and plant it into tiny bonsai pot and have it nicely put on your bench and display area. You have to understand that planting the tree into bonsai pot in very small confined container is one of the last things you want to do with your maple tree. It's not the first one, it's definitely one of the last ones you have to do. In case you are going to work with a tree with a cultivar which is believed to be not so strong on own roots, may be beneficial to keep it on strong seedling or rootstock which was used for grafting this valuable cultivar on this very strong rootstock and develop the thickness of the tree, and then after maybe 5 years to air layer it and develop a new Nebari on a tree. In many cases the Japanese gardeners are doing that as far as I know. Back to the question, what you can achieve with growing this kind of tree in 5 years of time. Again, here are the pictures of Clem. He planted those maples into this kind of wooden boxes 5 or more years ago, and you can see the results for yourself. If those results are not convincing, that I don't know what else could be convincing. With my very limited experience, I can show you. This is my maple, normal green variety, most probably my first ever successful air layer. This is the first one which went into this kind of box. It's there since spring 2023. So I can use the second camera so you can see This is Nebari of my tree, 2 years in the box. It was previously in a very small pot, and I repotted it from this very small pot into this oversized wooden box. So this is how it looks like now. Yeah. So we can see that the tree now is 3.5 centimeters just above the Nebari, and at the base it's around 6-7 centimeters. Yeah? So it's pretty wide already. Now I'm working on 5 new layers from this tree. No roots yet, we need to wait. But this is normal green variety from my very first tree I have, and my first ever successful air layer. I wish I had a place to put this tree into this kind of oversized box 10 years ago when I did the air layer, but unfortunately my garden at that time was very small. I haven't had the place for this kind of massive boxes. Now my garden is bigger, as you may have seen in the tour video. I have several of those kind of trees in those kind of boxes. Shin Deshojo, green variety. This is Arakawa from cutting. This is cutting taken in August 23 in Thomas Herring Garden. So again, the big pot, the cutting is sitting on a flat board. Some root work was done last year and this year, and now it's growing. The thing is, if the box is too big or not, I believe by studying the results of Ebihara and Clement and the people who tried these methods before me, that it's not too big, it makes sense, and that it will develop sufficiently big trunk very fast and good Nebari very fast. So as I said, the planting this tree into wooden box, it would not work on its own. What you have to do is to repot the tree every year or every 2 years, remove the big roots, let the roots split and create the flare of much finer roots, and then the Nebari will widen and will create very nice flare of very fine roots. And maybe, in case it's one of your targets, maybe this is the way how to create also the pancake Nebari, which will take a lot of time, but this is one of the possibility, that you remove the big roots, keep the small ones, fix the tree from the base on the plywood or some kind of board or tile, let the roots grow, reach the periphery of the box, and then repeat the process during the repotting. Take the tree out, do drastic reduction of the root ball, repeat this process over time. So in case you stick to repotting every 2 years, for example, with the cutting from the year 1, you have 5, maybe 6 repottings where you can do the detail work on your Nebari, and in the same time the work on thickness of your trunk, and then start to work on branching. It depends if you are aiming for single trunk line in traditional design, or you are trying to create something wider, like I'm aiming with this tree, where I would like to avoid only single trunk line and create some kind of wider canopy of a tree. It's your preference. You are going to do that, and you are going to look on your tree 99% of the time, so it's up to you what you will decide. All those techniques created by Mr. Ebihara or perfected by Mr. Ebihara, copied by people like Clement, and demonstrated how well they are work on forum like bonsainut, and you can see the result spread over 5-10 years time. It's fantastic opportunities for you to learn something and to gain experience from the people who did that before you. And that's what we are trying to do. Try to learn ourselves, and then we share what we achieved with our resources in our climate and with our approach. One important thing is also the Clem is growing all his trees in greenhouse because he's living in very windy environment. So it's not only that you put the tree into the box, it's also about fertilizing, also about the conditions, how you are dealing with elements of the weather and so on and so on. So you need to go and study what those people are doing and look at all these requirements. And if you are going to copy, don't copy only one part of the equation, but also look at what kind of fertilizer, what kind of soil, what kind of drainage holes they are using, and so on and so on. There is way too many details to be covered in 20 minutes video by me, but I have, as I said, I have many of those maples now in boxes. I will most probably make few more videos in next few years where I will deal with the roots, with the structure, with the grafts, with layers, and with everything. In case you have any questions regarding this topic, just drop it down into the comment. If you have similar, very good, very complex question like Jan, don't be afraid. Shoot a question at me. It's one of the best ways how we can learn each other and how we can share our experience in case you have some very specific topic you would like to cover. Most probably that's all for today. And in case you like the video, don't forget to boop the like button, and see you next time.